What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the RTB Phillies show, post-game show of Game 1 here on the RTB Phillies Sports Network, presented by SeatGeek. I am your host, Christy Francisco. Jason Kent is with me, and my opening statement is pretty much kind of the opposite of what I said, of what I thought what could have happened last night when John and I did our preview and prediction show. I thought if the Phillies were able to secure game one at home with their best pitcher, maybe the best pitcher in the National League on the mound, that would be a really good precursor for the rest of the series. It didn't go that way today. The Phillies dropped game one 6-2 after an absolute masterpiece gem of a game from Zach Wheeler. And I think effectively this ends the season for the Phillies. I really do. If you can't win game one at home, guess what, Philadelphia? And I'm really sorry to tell you facts because the fan base doesn't like facts. Home field doesn't mean shit anymore. Home field advantage means absolutely nothing. Citizens Bank Park means nothing in October. It might mean something in June, July, August, or September, but we saw it at the end of last season, the NLCS. Stop thinking home field advantage means anything in baseball in October.
See, here's where I disagree a little bit on that, though. I
Right.
don't think no matter where you play, looking at this offense, if that you're that cold, you're not going to win games. So I get like the crowd's raucous. They were great early, and Wheeler pitched a great game, but it just felt like in that game they feared Wheeler, and Wheeler was dominant. And we've seen it time and time again in baseball where you got a starting pitcher that's just pitching absolute gems, and you take them out, and they get that confidence. And you first pitch for or first batter against Hoffman gets on, and it just was downhill from there. So I still think they want to play up at home, but they can't hit, and they're slumping.
It's a bad baseball team, and we said it last night. And again, since July 13th, the Philadelphia Phillies are a below average baseball team. They're under 500 since mid-July, 33-34. The fact of the matter is it's a flawed lineup that cannot hit. They cannot manufacture runs, and they can't do it. This is a Mets team that used everything that they had in their chamber against the Brewers in a 3-game set. And the Phillies could muster, 2 runs, yes, but for the majority of the game, 1 run on like the 3rd pitch of the 1st inning. And this baseball team, full of loaded players that make a lot of money, can't do anything. Trey Turner did nothing. Bryce Harper did nothing. Alec Boehm did nothing. Nick Castellanos did nothing. JT Realmuto did nothing. It's a bad baseball team.
Well, and when you're watching this game, the big issue was early on after Schwarber hit that home run, you could tell Sengo, he didn't have it. And I felt like the next batter, Trey, swung at some crap. These guys are swinging at crap all night. And I got really worried. I texted in the group chat right away. You're watching the game.
When Harper starts flailing.
Well, yeah, your first 2 at bats, you see 9 pitches and you walk on 9 pitches. And then you take ball 1 and then you swing it 3 bull crap things. And I understand, like I get why he did it, but you can't go outside yourself. And that's what it felt like. He was pressing there where he typically doesn't, because he understands that right now nobody's hitting. So it's affecting him because he's pressing. And that's where my head instantly shifted. Like, man, now that's not good. Once Bryce is shifting to, I need to really carry this team. Eat it, Dean. Eat it, Dean. It's tough. It's, it wasn't a good look, and they didn't hit anywhere.
Yeah.
You wasted such a masterful game by Wheeler, and it's tough.
And it's crazy, the Mets got Citizens Bank Park on Saturday they had so much momentum going into the series. They had great vibes. And again, John and I talked about it last night. the Mets, and I said it first last night, the Mets to me right now are the 2022 Phillies. They are riding so much momentum. The whole good vibes thing is really with that team. And the second Zach Wheeler came out of that game, they pounced. And I mean, Jeff Hoffman sucks. Matt Strom sucks. You know, the two guys that Major League Baseball were talking so highly about. The Phillies have such an advantage against the Mets because their bullpen is just loaded with all-stars and such good pitchers. The top two guys come in tonight and get slammed. They get barebacked by the Mets. And it was embarrassing. And I know what I meant in the beginning was, does home field sometimes mean something? Sure, it could, but I don't think it means that much at Citizens Bank Park anymore. It doesn't. I don't think
Not
anyone's
since
scared.
Arizona.
No
No, because
one's scared
you were
anymore.
so dominant, and the way Arizona did it, and I agree. And I think the biggest thing everyone asks is at work. There's a few Met fans, and everybody said, "Why are you worried about the Mets?" And it was the way they won it made me nervous because the high you're coming off of winning that game, Alonso really just sending them home, and then now you look at a Phillies lineup where everything was meant for you today to dominate. You knew
Yep.
you were getting Senga back after how long, and you had your opportunities, and you knew it was going to be bullpen after bullpen guy,
Yep.
and you had your ace on the mound, and you couldn't take advantage of it. And now when you see Bright, you're worried. You're worried they're not the people they were, and it could be some long postseasons, but it's frustrating because they're the second best team in baseball. I understand what you're saying since July, but also, and you know, when you look at the season as a whole, they're much better than this. It's very disappointing.
I mean, they're playing one of the best teams in baseball since July. Like, that's the other worry that I have. And let me just
They are
kind of
hot.
let everybody know how good Zach Wheeler was today. So he had 30 swings and misses today, which is third most in postseason
Wow.
history since pitch tracking came along in 2008. He has a 2.18 ERA in the postseason for his career, third lowest in Major League Baseball history, with a minimum of 10 starts since earned runs became official in 1913. He has 3 postseason starts of 6+ innings, 2 or fewer hits allowed, and 0 runs allowed. It's the most by any pitcher in Major League Baseball history. And the Phillies offense fucked it up because they're garbage. And I've said this, and this, I want Jason, I want you to eat it, because I've been saying this shit since July, and you and other people have been on your knees to this franchise saying how
No,
great
no, no,
they
no,
are.
no. I
And you,
disagree. I disagree with that. No, it's not the franchise. It's the players. I
the
believe in the players.
players,
I
yes,
still believe JT. I do think is done. I was never sold on Stott. I didn't think I
I
wasn't sure what he
agree.
was, but I still do believe Schwarber can do it. I still believe Harper's going to do it, and I know Casty can still do it. I know he looked bad today. Bohm's not what he was. Like, I guess the early season was really the best. You know, his absolute greatest, but we're never going to see that. That's not who he is. So it is a flawed lineup. You don't know really what you can do. They don't produce runs. When you see a team like Kansas City, they're saying they steal bases. If the Phillies aren't hitting the long ball, they're not
You're
winning
right.
games.
Yeah. And I don't know, man. I don't know how Christopher Sanchez I don't know how Christopher Sanchez is going to be able to stop that momentum tomorrow. I mean, he's going to have to pitch. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to have 30 swings and misses. That's not his game. I mean, but he's going to have to throw 7 innings of, 1 to 2 run ball max.
Can you do
But
it? That's the question. And they're hot.
I don't
Like
know.
we say we want now, the Mets have woken up.
Oh, the blood was in the water for this.
And now they're, the Phillies, you got to kind of feel defeated a little bit.
Yeah.
Listen, you hope Bryce is back there yelling, you hope all the guys are back there talking to themselves, because this really is a year and I understand what you say about the Phillies since the mid-break, but nobody really ran away with it. This is the year that it's really wide open, and this was the year that you could have pounced, and you can't shit the bed here. It's wide open. So they gotta do something. Your ball's gotta drop now.
Yeah. The
Go
top
hit.
5 hitters today went 4 for 19.
And
2
was at
hits.
Schwarbs,
2
yeah.
hits from Schwarber, 1 from Bryce, and 1 from Castellanos. Alec Bohm went 0 for 4. And just going down, Turner went 0 for 4 with some ugly strikeouts again. Harper was walked twice and then decided in his third at bat, I'm just going to start swinging at anything that I see. So again, this was a Mets team who started a guy who hasn't pitched since July. And I don't understand why this offense just could not register a run in the first 7th inning outside of that home run. That's it. One home run for the until Wheeler was out of the game. I don't understand.
But I do. To me, the offense was bad, but this game really it has to go in the bullpen.
I agree with you. I mean, but
to me, does it
though, when you're up 1-0?
If they were up 4-0, they would have lost.
Yeah, but if you're up 4-0, I think
you're
right. It's a little different.
Probably a little different. I agree with you, but to me, you have your bullpen sucking, your offense is sucking. It's a recipe where it's a recipe for a first round disaster. It's a recipe for losing this divisional series, and really, you can't. It's tough to look at because you don't want if you lose here. We've all talked about it. If you lose in this series, now tomorrow could be a different story. They could come out and smash 8 home runs,
of course,
and you're hoping.
Right. But that's my thing. But you have to look at it this way. Yes, I blame it on the bullpen. But if you're this Mets team and you see that it's only 1-0 and Zach Wheeler's out of the game, you're probably itching to grab a bat to get up there now.
And they don't fear anybody but Harper. They don't even really fear Schwarber. Like they know Schwarber's going to get
crazy.
his. They don't fear Schwarber. He's going to get his more times than not. He's going to strike out. The only guy they really fear is Harper, and it showed tonight. It showed a lot. They didn't care. Harper got nothing to hit, and they were fine with it because they know nobody else can do shit, and that's the issue.
Yeah. Look, it all started off great. To give everybody an update, if you didn't see the game, the crowd was going nuts. I mean, in the top of the first inning, Zach Wheeler is touching 99 miles per hour since the first time since Game 6 of the 2022 World Series. Kyle Schwarber comes up and he does what Kyle Schwarber does do a lot, and that's destroying a leadoff home run in that first inning into the second deck to give the Phillies a 1-0 lead. That was it. The Phillies did not square up another baseball until the 8th inning. And it really, and you do blame it on the Phillies bullpen, but the Phillies offense kind of forced the bullpen to be damn near perfect.
That wasn't even close. That's the issue. That's the issue. You're right. They should have been, but I expect, and you're coming out. I expect Hoffman to just come in and crew. Like he's been a very dominant. I expect Hoffman. I expect it. I really thought it was going to go, back. I thought it boom, boom. I had every confidence in the world that we were winning this game. But yeah, you got to be worried going into tomorrow with this offensive team.
Yeah, man. I'm just going to say, like, I don't know how I can possibly be confident because since July, has this team, how many times did we come on here during the season and say, you know what, this is a kick in the ass for this team. They're going to come out tomorrow and they're going to win this important series. They're going to pitch this. They're going to hit that. And it's the same thing, Jay. And I don't know how I can look. By tomorrow morning, my stupid ass is going to go in the group chat and be like, you know what? I'm feeling a good win today. But as I'm sitting here right now thinking logically, I don't know how I can make myself
I agree.
confident tomorrow. Because my confidence on the series was reliant on Game 1 with Zach Wheeler on the mound. Thinking that if they get 3 or 4 runs on the Mets early, game over because Wheeler's going to go 7 like he did. But 1 in the first inning. And I'm just looking at myself, what the hell is going to show up tomorrow? Don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to think.
You can't. Not after this performance, not after the way they really limped into the postseason. You can't. You have to be cautiously optimistic, but no, there's a real chance that they could get bumped if the bats, and we saw it last postseason. I know everybody says it's one game. We saw it last postseason where they just got cold and they stayed cold for the end. So you hope it's not like that this year.
I'm really worried about Hoffman. He was their most reliable reliever in 2024. But if you look at his last 2 appearances, 4 runs in an inning in the final weekend against Washington, and then 3 runs without recording an out today. This is problemsome for me. This is a little. I'm a little bit worried now because crap. Do we have to rely on Jose Alvarado now in that position? So, I mean, do you think this is something you can wipe off his shoulders here? Do you go back to Hoffman tomorrow if you're in?
I don't go back. I don't go back to him tomorrow. No, okay. I can't. Not with the way he looked today. Gave up. They were on top of him. There's a lot of pitches, the high leverage situation tonight. You really hope Sanchez can give you the big innings tomorrow because that's what you're going to need.
You're going to need it.
Yeah. So if he can't get through 6. I think, he has to get through at least 6. If he can't get through 6, it's going to be a rough day.
I mean, yeah, look, the Phillies had just 2 hits through 7 2/3 innings, and both belong to Kyle Schwarber. He led off, of course, the bottom of the first with that home run and a bloop single to center with 1 out in the 3rd. Bryce Harper doubled with 2 outs in the 8th, meaningless. Nick Castellano single, but Alec Bohm grounded out to keep that deficit there. Cody Clemens, the superstar of this team, hits a double with 2 outs in the 9th to get that second run. The Phils had gone 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position, and the lone hit didn't even produce a run. So 111 pitches, brilliant outing from Zach Wheeler. And the Mets have pretty much just did today what they've been doing to everyone, Jay. Just this week, they came back in the 8th and the 9th innings Monday against the Braves to clinch the playoff berth. They came back from 2 deficits to win Game 1 of the wild card series in Milwaukee, and they shocked the Brewers with 4 runs in the 9th to advance on Thursday. And the Phillies, they just took away the Phillies' best shot with Zach Wheeler. I just don't know. We are watching on the other side the 2022 Phillies. So to me, it could be. I don't know what else to think.
It's not looking good. That's really, I really agree with you. I agree with you. It's tough. Yeah. You really can hope for tomorrow, but you need a big game out of Sanchez, and I don't know. Yeah. You got to go in optimistic because they can do it, but you just can't.
Of course, I know they can.
The Mets look like a team that everybody said it, and I know that's how everybody fed about the Phillies in 22. The Mets look like a team that can take it down.
The Phillies are 0-7 in series where they lose Game 1.
Well, let's make it 1-7.
Yeah, right. Let's do that, right? So, yeah, tomorrow's one of those games where, what was it, Game 2 against the Diamondbacks where they won 10-0 and they just unloaded? That's what has to happen tomorrow. The Phillies have had, a week off or so. This is where, this was a team we thought needed some time off. You got to prove it at some point because all you're proving now is you got the 2nd seed, you got a first round bye, and you're doing the same things you did the last 3 or 4 months. So, look, Chris Sanchez on the mound tomorrow, Jay. What's your prediction for Game 2?
I think I'm gonna go win. Against everything I want to say. So you can tell I don't feel it, but I got to go win. If you don't win tomorrow, I think it's over in 3 if you don't win tomorrow.
So my caveat to mine is I do think they win tomorrow because I think they lose Game 3 at Citi Field. So I'm going to go a W tomorrow with Chris Sanchez on the mound, and I think they lose Game 3. I mean, we'll see. If they win tomorrow by a lot, we'll see how my opinion changes. But I do think it's because the Mets are going to take Game 1 at home. But yeah, I still think the Phillies squeak out a win tomorrow. But again, like Jay just said, and I agree with him wholeheartedly, if they lose tomorrow, just back up the truck, knock down CBP, and turn it into a parking lot at that point. Like, I don't know what else to do if they can't muster up a win in the first 2 games at home. You won 95 games to get those first 2 games at home.
You had the best home record in baseball.
Best home record in baseball, and now you're up against a team that's just not scared of you. They've handled you all year. You got to come out and do something. Show that you're not gutless because that offense is heartless. They're gutless, and they're no talent hacks as far as I'm concerned right now, except for Kyle Schwarber. He did his job. Schwarber did his job. The guy that we've ripped more than anybody the last 2 years just keeps doing his job. But so you have the Phillies winning tomorrow, Jay, and so do I, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, look, head over to SeatGeek.com right now. Use our code Ring the Bell for $20 off your very first ticket purchase. We'll be back here tomorrow night for game two's post game show. But until then, look, all you can do is keep the hope alive. I'm going to do my best to keep doing that until there's an L tomorrow. If there's an L tomorrow, you're going to get zero hope from me. But if there is, then we get to live on another day of hoping to take a lead, maybe steal one in up in New York. So we'll see. All right. So if you're watching on YouTube, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell for notifications. Hopefully the Phillies find a way to ring the bell tomorrow. That would be great. So for Jason Kent, I'm Christy Francesca. We'll catch you guys here tomorrow night. And no matter how you're feeling, no matter how I'm feeling or Jay, it's always go Phils.